Some of the solutions could be to try and combat these causes are stricter punishments, meaning that players, coaches, and clubs get fines and bans as certain consequences for their actions. There could be rule changes within the national governing body of football, so FIFA and the FA could change some rules where players, like rugby, if they talk back to the ref or are rude to the ref, they just get sin-binned or sent off. This will then hopefully cut down the amount of abuse that players and also referees and officials get. And hopefully that will change the sort of culture of football, which ultimately will reduce the violence that is shown in football. Also, coaches and parents need a good ethos. They need to reinforce good behaviour and educate young athletes through role models, and they can do this by having positive role models that are presented in the media so that they can look up to them and aspire to be like them. So, for example, Steph Horton, our Lioness captain, she's a positive role model on and off the pitch, and she just represents good fair play when she plays football, which can have an impact on the younger generation to reinforce that good behaviour so that violence decreases. I'm now going to discuss some of the causes for maybe spectator violence. So spectators and fans play a huge part in football, but they do display a lot of aggression, whether that be through verbal aggression and sometimes physical aggression by throwing objects at athletes or starting fights amongst themselves within the crowd. Once again, the social learning theory could be a cause as to why fans display aggression, as children learn by copying the behaviour of their parents. So if their parents are swearing and shouting, then the parents are just reinforcing this behaviour. So the child is more likely to copy, and if they do copy, then sometimes the parents don't discourage it and they don't tell them off, therefore they're encouraging this behaviour. So it's a continuous cycle of children copying the behaviour of their parents, which might eventually lead to their children copying their behaviours. And if they're just being brought up as it's okay to swear and shout and be rude when at a football match, then it's just going to continue. Another cause might be frustration. So, like the players, fans might get frustrated through refs' decisions, or if it's a rival team, an opposition, and they're not happy, then they are more likely to start showing aggressive behaviour because they're just frustrated and they just don't like the decision. They think it should be something else or more in favour of their team, which once again leads to verbal aggression by swearing and shouting at the opposition or just down at the pitch so that the officials can hear it. Although it might be just in someone's personality trait to be aggressive and they just want to fight, they might just go to a football match just to have a fight. So with that, then they'll just spark anything up to try and start an argument or a physical fight with an opposition. They might not be actually frustrated at anything, they just might be in their personality trait to show aggression. The influence of alcohol or drugs can have a huge impact as to how someone reacts to a certain comment or decision. Their emotions might be more heightened under the influence of these substances. So alcohol and drugs do have a huge impact on how someone will react, which could lead to potential fights, physical fights, as they might become more aggressive or because of the influence of alcohol. Also, because of the culture of the game, they might feel pressure, social pressure, to almost conform to what everyone else is doing. So certain people might think, oh, other people are doing it, so I'm going to do it, otherwise I'm going to be looked down on, basically. I'm going to be questioned why I'm not joining in with the fight or the argument or shouting abuse down at the pitch. So fans might feel social pressure to act a certain way. On the other hand, a football match might be escapism. Someone might be venting something if they have a stressful job or home life, so they just might want to get all their aggression and what they're feeling out in an environment where it's actually probably accepted. Most people don't get punished for certain things that they maybe say, like swearing at officials or down at the pitch or to each other. There's no consequences for that. So maybe some people just want to go there just to almost release the tension or something that they might be feeling due to other factors in their life. And maybe football is the way to do that because it's part of the culture and no one minds, really. But violence shouldn't be a part of football. It shouldn't be normal. So there needs to be solutions regarding the fans in order to reduce the amount of violence seen at a football match. So some of the solutions are there could be less alcohol consumption when entering a match, as in if a person already seems to be under the influence of alcohol, then they shouldn't be allowed in the stadium. Also, while in the match, there should be a limit of how much alcohol can be consumed. Also, increasing the number of stewards that stand and watch maybe will decrease the amount of fights that happen, as they can break them up easier as there's more of them, and intervene when they think something's going to happen. There could be an increase in CCTV, as if they don't catch the person responsible for disruption in the moment, they could be caught on camera and then found at a later date. Also, there should be fines and bans from the stadium, and a statement put on a permanent record, so like a criminal record, if a fan does something to a player or is just disruptive consistently during a football match. So recently, Jack Grealish for Aston Villa got attacked by a fan. He was arrested and escorted out of the stadium and received a ban, which was appropriate for what he did, as he just attacked the Aston Villa player with no reason. Also, stadiums could try and split up groups that might cause trouble. So most stadiums know which fans cause trouble and if they have disputes or not, so like through rival teams or something. So they should probably try and split these people up to eliminate the risk of a fight breaking out. So all of these solutions hopefully could potentially reduce the amount of violence seen by the fans within football.